Am I the butthole for telling my daughter she caused her own problems? My male wife, female, and I are both 48 with 2 daughters, Liz, 30, and Ash, 24. I'm not sure where to start with this, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Liz used to date a young man named Pat. They were together for 5 years starting in college. In their 4th year together, Pat was accepted into medical school while Liz struggled. She worked as a dockside worker, and desperate for more income, Liz took up side jobs and took up a position in a local pizza shop to get management experience. From the outside looking in, Liz was working long hours while Pat was being crushed in school. They ended up getting engaged, however Liz cheated on Pat and the affair got pregnant. Their relationship ended obviously. Ash went to the same school as Liz and graduated without any hiccups. She works in finance and she seems to be very happy in life, and we couldn't be prouder of her. Last year Ash approached myself and her mother about a guy we knew she had met. It was Pat, and they had met while they were both working. To make a long story short, they have been dating for over a year now, and Ash seems to be very happy while Pat still seems like a great guy. Liz has not taken this new development well at all and has made issue out of issue with it. My wife and I both warned Ash this was going to be an obvious huge problem, but she said she was sorry for Liz, but she threw Pat away, so she didn't care how she felt about it. Liz's life has been difficult to say the least. She has 2 children as a single parent and her career has never really taken off. She doesn't do badly, however I guess she had higher ambitions. Her life is certainly tougher than Ash's, and now that she's dating a doctor who she once was engaged to, she's on a downward spiral. Friday night Liz came over and asked us to watch her children, but my wife and I weren't up to it. One is special needs and we just don't have the energy for it sometimes. She had a meltdown where she unloaded her emotions on us, and I told her that her problems are her own fault. She chose her degree, she chose her job, she chose to cheat, she chose to have kids and be a single mother. These were all her choices, and I for one am sick of hearing how bad her life is all the time. AITA? Look, this might be an unpopular opinion, considering how this sub reacts to stories of people dating their friends/siblings' exes, but not the butthole /. Once you've cheated on someone, I think you lose the right to be upset about something like that. Liz already burned that bridge, and it's not as if Ash and Pat were having an affair while they were still together. I feel bad for Liz, but she ruined her own relationship, and these choices have consequences. That's how life works. I disagree with your judgment. Reread the post. Original poster talks a lot about Liz cheating and Ash getting together with Pat, but all that information is really irrelevant. I don't know why he even included it. The situation we are judging is what original poster talks about in the last 3 paragraphs. Liz currently is dealing with a lot. She's a single mom, one of her kids is special needs, and she's not made of money. She's overwhelmed by all this and unloads all of her emotions about this onto her parent, looking for some support. They tell her that all of this is her fault. Original poster is the butthole for saying that, even if it's true, not the time or place. I want to add that I agree with you that Liz is a butthole for cheating years ago. I just think it has nothing to do with the current situation. I have 2 grown kids, and one likes to unload her stress on me. We as parents are human as well. Some days I may get several calls to give advice or comfort only to still have the same kid yell at me. She'll call the next day and tell me she is out of line. Sounds like daughter called, complained about her sibling dating her ex and wanting parents to step in. She also wanted a sitter too. I'm sure she is having a hard time, but even parents that are supportive have to draw a line. We don't know the exact content of Liz's rant, but I'd wager it factors into Op's reaction a lot. If Liz just needed to vent about having a hard time with childcare right now, that's one thing and I'd be more inclined to agree with you. But the moment she brings Ash and Pat into it, she brings her own choices in too. My bet is there was a comparison about how Ash's life is so easy and it's just not fair, which directly invites the reaction original poster had. Additionally, it doesn't sound like this is the isolated breakdown of an otherwise responsible person. It sounds like Liz has been doing more than her share of whining lately. I think it would depend on how often, and how, Liz dumps on her parents. If this is a one-off or infrequent, I just want to vent because I had an especially tough day, situation, the original poster is the off or not offering shoulder to cry on. If Liz does this very often and absolutely always blames outside forces for her situation without ever taking blame herself, then I can see why original poster would get fed up with it. Her actions cause the problems. If she was venting about things outside of her control, I would agree, but she made her bed so she can sleep in it. Agreed. If Liz and Pat broke up, I would take the position that Ash shouldn't be invited to family functions that Liz is at. But when the relationship falls apart because you cheated, you lose the right to complain. I mean, I agree on the whole not the butthole thing. But I can't imagine the family dynamic ever going well when you start getting serious with your ex-fiancé's sibling. I also question if the younger daughter knew she was getting serious with her older sister's ex. Same. Like, there are millions of men in the world, and I pick a man who has had sex with my sister? Gross, gross, gross. Straight up. The reasons for their breakup is completely irrelevant. Dating your sibling's ex is gross and weird and inconsiderate. Ops not the butthole, but I would judge the F out of someone for dating their sibling's ex. Right, I swear half of Reddit lives in a soap opera, because I'm wondering why you'd go there in the first place. Yep. I imagine there are some dynamics in the family which we don't know about. I literally can't imagine dating my sibling's ex-fiancé. Not only did the person have sex with one of my siblings, they wanted to marry one of them at one time. Even though I agree that original poster is NTA, and I don't think Liz really gets to complain because she did cheat on the guy, I've forgotten his name already, but the whole dating your sister's ex-fiancé thing is super weird. Ash's attitude about makes it seem like maybe she has some issues with her sister. Weird vibes all around. The original poster says they were together for 5 years, so I find it hard to believe they didn't both know who the other was. I wonder why Pat would like to date his ex's sister. I mean, doesn't that feel weird? Doesn't he get reminded of his awful ex? Is this some revenge thing? Is he dating his ex's sister out of revenge? Seems so weird. Also, Pat and Liz dated for 5 years. Has he known Ash since she was 13? That's another weird dynamic to throw in. Even ignoring that, I can't see how this started in a healthy manner. That doesn't seem suspect. Yeah. I wouldn't care how or why the relationship ended. But I would feel very uncomfortable dating someone my sister was in a serious relationship with. Maybe if it had been like a one-night thing. But they were together for years. Yikes. 100% agree, both girls are adults. I have 4 kids, ages 11 down to 5. One of the things I focus most on when trying to teach them is every choice they make has a consequence. Some of those consequences are really good and we like them, some of them really suck. Seems like this is a lesson that Liz still needs to learn. Ops post rings with frustration over something he cannot do anything about, Liz's choices. And Liz has a meltdown when her parents said no to her demand not request for some respite. She is sucking all the air out of the room now, so his reaction is understandable. And maybe she needed to hear it. Everyone sucks here, Liz for her choices, Ash for dating her sister's ex, just completely wrong, and you too for the dismissiveness and lack of empathy for your daughter. I'm getting a real Ash is the golden child vibe from this too. We don't have a golden child. When Ash started dating Pat, we cautioned her against it and told her that we would not allow Liz to be uncomfortable at family functions. Maybe it's just me. But dating your ex's sister is pretty gross, along with dating your sister's ex. Why? Does said ex suddenly become used goods that no one can be with? For me, not dating someone's ex, who's close to me, isn't about the person being used goods, but acknowledging they had a very intimate and vulnerable relationship. When you have someone as your significant other, you open yourself up to them like you don't anyone else. You let them into your body, your mind, and your soul. You tell them every heartache, tragedy, and joy you experienced in life, and you plan on having them around for every future one. You vent to them when you're mad about the dumb crap your sister does, you laugh with them when your parents do quirky and embarrassing stuff, and you cry with them when you experience tragic loss. This person is a safe haven of you. And I would never, even if my siblings cheated, date their ex. It's out of the respect I have for them that I understand seeing that person would be hard. Most people agree it's rare to stay friends with your ex, even when you have a good breakup, yet Liz is supposed to be okay with her ex dating her sister? I know there are people who can remain friends with their ex and are even okay with them dating siblings or cousins, but that's obviously a very small majority. Also, what does Pat know about Ash? A lot of couples share everything. Ash is potentially at disadvantage here. Pat knows everything he needs to start a successful relationship with her. He knows about her family background, her likes and interests, their childhood, and what causes fights with her. He can use that to make the start of the relationship look amazing, because he is a cheat sheet. Even if he doesn't realize what he's doing, there's still a huge imbalance in this relationship. Look, I see where you're coming from, I really do. However, Liz isn't particularly okay with this, going on what I've read, and Ash knows that. However, if Liz doesn't like it, well, she shouldn't have cheated in my opinion. She also doesn't get to go around telling her sister who she can and cannot date. From Op's comments, Ash met Pat at a company do and they hit it off. Maybe the sisters are similar in some regards and that's what got Pat interested in her and her interested in him. However, saying he knows everything about Ash because he dated Liz is a bit weird in my eyes. Just because Liz and he dated for however long, doesn't mean she spent hours talking about Ash and her likes/dislikes, etc. That would be weird as hell. Doesn't mean that whatever makes Liz tick, also makes Ash tick, either. They are both adults and, going on what original poster said, very clearly, very different people. I'd hardly say Pat has a cheat sheet. Yes, he knows about some parts of the family dynamic for sure, but he doesn't know everything and he clearly realizes it's two different people. Otherwise he could have said, well, Liz cheated, so clearly Ash will cheat too, and I'm not going to risk it. They were together for 5 years. That is plenty of time to talk about her sibling. It's plenty of time to recount your entire life hundreds of times. Just because Liz and he dated for however long, doesn't mean she spent hours talking about Ash and her likes/dislikes, etc. That would be weird as hell. So talking about your sister with your over the course of 5 years, is weird. But banging their ex is okay? I have to say, yes, absolutely. Over the course of 5 years Liz had probably spent hours talking about her sister. Because Ash's likes or dislikes directly affect Liz. Did they go on vacation and Liz found out Ash doesn't like eating sushi so they had to avoid all sushi restaurants like the plague? Did she find out her sister became vegetarian and so she had to start having vegetarian meals during dinner parties? Did she find out her sister was addicted to prescription drugs to get through school? Over the course of 5 years you learn a lot about someone's family. They're not sitting down having a gab session explicitly about the sister, but how the sister impacted Liz's life. You have friends, don't you? You talk about other people in your life with them, don't you? You may not sit there every time and talk about them for hours, but 10 minutes here and there adds up. They learn about these other people through you and, over time, remember these details because you are important to them. However, if Liz doesn't like it, well, she shouldn't have cheated in my opinion. She also doesn't get to go around telling her sister who she can and cannot date. This isn't about Liz telling Ash she can't date someone. This is based on how Ash should not want to date Liz's exes. Just because Liz cheated doesn't change the sister bond between Ash and Liz. Liz did nothing wrong to Ash. Ash should still love her sister the same. Ash can be disappointed, sure. But there should still be love between them. Yes, you and me as a random internet people can say F Liz, she cheated, who gives a damn about her and her feelings. But that shouldn't be her sister saying that. People have made substantially worse mistakes than what Liz did and are forgiven far easier. I don't see how the cheating factors into Ash dating an ex or sister. It's still an ex. This is about why a great deal of people consider the exes of loved ones off limits, because it's out of mutual respect. Questions: are you okay with your siblings or friends dating your long-term ex? Are you okay with dating a sibling's or friend's ex? Yes. Jesus, there are millions of men in the world. I cannot imagine picking one who had a 5-year relationship with my sister. It's too gross. Actually, yes. I would never get the pictures out of my head him having sex with my sister, tell her he loves her, etc. For that alone it would be an absolute no-go. Just one of those unwritten rules: you don't date the ex of a sibling. I'm amazed by the number of people who are defending it. The circumstances of the breakup should have zero impact on whether it's okay or not. This is not really about whether or not the father is or is not in butthole. I would think Ash might be in for more than she realizes. Anytime a person gets involved with an ex's sibling, there are normally other issues involved than hey, I knew you a while back, want to go out? Pat could feel that he never really got over Liz, and Ash is a close second since she is the younger, possibly upgraded, version of Liz. Pat might be, possibly unconsciously, still trying to get back at Liz for hurting him so egregiously by dating Ash. Your sibling's ex? ESH. Liz for cheating, Ash, less so, for dating her sister's ex, and you for your complete lack of empathy or sympathy for your oldest daughter. Yes, Liz made choices, and the results suck for her. But I'm not reading an ounce of caring for her out of your text. Nothing. So yeah, you suck for that. Edit. Not the butthole for the question you've asked, but this is a situation on which a close eye should be kept, for a myriad of reasons, mostly those which make Pat creepy. So, I'm not seeing any comments pointing it out yet, but info, is Pat dating a girl that he's known since she was 13 and he was 19? Edit 2. I got my first award ever, thank you, relieved face. I would bet dollars to donuts that Pat is using one sister to get back at the other. Being cheated on can do funny things to your revenge/morality matrix. Oh my god, now my mind is thinking what next, Pat breaks up with Ash and goes for original poster? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.